Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. This insightful saying by Leo Tolstoy is a valuable reminder for all of us to reflect inwardly. The renowned 19th century Russian author suggested that we ask ourselves what God really wants us to do. As Leo Tolstoy said, "In the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you." A novel by Tolstoy is not a work of art, but a piece of life, stated Matthew Arnold, a 19th century British poet and critic. In addition to his renowned epic novels, Leo Tolstoy wrote essays and letters that conveyed the spiritual truths he came to realize in life. Along with adopting and promoting the vegetarian diet, he became deeply interested in spirituality and living by the ethical teachings of Christ. The concepts he conveyed through his writings about peace and the fulfillment of God's will greatly influenced 20th century leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Supreme Master Hai once spoke of Tolstoy in a group meditation session with our association members in July 1997 in Los Angeles, USA.
Because Tolstoy was a practitioner, That's why when you read his story, almost a story about spirituality, about God, and very happy, very positive. It's very good to read him, to read his book. You try. If you haven't, you try. You can read more, Such thing is very good for you.
We would like to share an insightful excerpt from Volume 1, Love from the Pathway of Life, a collection of Tolstoy's philosophies on religion, life, death, and more. Just as the human body craves food and suffers when deprived of it, so does the soul of man crave love and suffers when deprived of it. All things are drawn to earth and to one another. Even so, all souls are drawn to God and to one another, so that man might live all as one and not each for himself. God revealed to them only that which is needful for all, and not that which is needful for each one separately. And so that men might know what is needful to all and for all, he entered their souls, and in their souls manifested himself as love. The troubles of man do not come from poor harvests, from conflagrations, from evildoers, but only from their living their lives apart from one another. And they live apart because they have no faith in that voice of love which dwells in them and which draws them together. As long as man lives the animal life, it seems to him that if he is separated from other people, it must be so and cannot be otherwise. But as soon as he commences to live the life of the Spirit, he finds it strange, deplorable, and even painful to be apart from other people, and he will strive to become one with them. And it is love alone that makes people one. Every man knows that he must do those things which unite him with people rather than those which separate him from them. He knows it not because anyone has so commanded him, but because the more he unites with people, the better he lives, and on the contrary, the more he separates from them, the worse is his life. The business of every man's life is to grow better and better every year, every month, every day, and the better men become, the more closely they unite one with another. And the more closely they unite, the better becomes their life. The more I love a person, the less I feel my separateness from him. It seems as though he is the same as I the same as he. If we only firmly held to this rule, to be one with people in the things on which we agree, without demanding their adherence to the things from which they dissent, we would be much closer to Christ than those so-called Christians who keep themselves aloof from men of other religions, demanding their adherence to their own view of the truth. Love your enemies and you will have no enemies. The path to union is as discernible as a plank thrown across a puddle. The moment you swerve from the path, you find yourself in the mire of worldly vanities, quarrels, and malice. Love is only then genuine when it embraces all. God wanted us to be happy, and for that reason endowed us with a longing for happiness. But He wanted us to be happy in the aggregate and not as individuals. And for that reason, He endowed us with a longing for love. For this reason, men will be happy only when they all love one another. The Roman philosopher Seneca asserted that all that is living, all that we see about us, is one body. Even as our own hands, feet, stomach, and bones, we are all members of one body. We have all been born alike. We all alike seek our own good. We all understand that it is better for us to help one another rather than to harm one another. The same love to one another has been implanted in our hearts. We are like stones joined together in an arch and are bound to collapse unless we support one another. Every man strives to do as much good for himself as possible, and the greatest good in the world is to be in love and harmony with all people. How then can we attain this boon if we feel that we love some people but do not love others? We must learn to love those whom we do not love. Man learns the most difficult tasks. He learns to read and write, acquires sciences and crafts. If man only applied himself as assiduously to acquiring love as to learning various crafts and sciences, he would soon train himself to love all persons, even those who are distasteful to him. If you realize that love is the most important thing in life, you would not on meeting a man debate wherein he could be useful to you, but how and wherein you could be useful to him. Follow this rule, and you will always succeed better than if you took care of yourself alone. If we love those who attract us, who praise us, who do us good, then we love for ourselves, so as to better ourselves. Genuine love is when we love not for ourselves, seeking no benefit for ourselves, but for those whom we love, and when we love, not because people are attractive or useful to us, but because we acknowledge in every being that spirit which dwells in us. Only when we love in this manner can we love those that hate us, or enemies, as Christ taught us to do. We must respect every man, no matter how miserable or ridiculous he may be. We must remember that in every man dwells the same spirit as in us. Even if a man is repulsive, both as to body and as to soul, we must think like this. There must be such odd people in the world, we must bear with them. But if we show such people that we loathe them, we are in the first instance unjust, and then we challenge their bitter animosity. Such as he is, he cannot alter himself. What else can he do but to fight us like a deadly enemy? If we show hostility to him, we would indeed be good to him if we cease to be as he is. But he cannot do this. Therefore, we must be good to every man just as he is, not requiring of him to do that which he cannot do, not requiring him, in other words, to cease to be himself. Endeavor to love him whom you once did not love, whom you have condemned, or who may have done you an injury. And if you succeed in doing so, you will learn a new joy, even as a bright light dispelling the darkness The light of love will shine gloriously and joyously in your heart once you rid yourself of hatred. The best of men is he who loves all and does good to all without distinction, whether they be good or bad. Why is a disagreement with a fellow man so painful, and hatred of a fellow man is still more painful? Because we all feel that the principle which makes us all human beings is the same in all of us, so that when we hate others, we are in discord with that which is one in all. We are in discord with ourselves. I'm weary, I'm despondent, I'm lonely. Who told you to separate yourself from all people and to shut yourself up in the prison house of your solitary, miserable, and futile self? Act so that you may tell every man, do as I do. Until I see that the principal precept of Christ, to love your enemies, is observed, I shall not believe that those who call themselves Christians are Christians indeed. Noble viewers, thank you for joining us for today's Words of Wisdom.